Of course.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
It's a big one. I am here to talk about district retaliation and being scared into silence for many years. As the district tries to move forward with the community, I know it is time for me to finally share what happened to me at the hands of our district's former leadership and to see if the current leadership can make my ongoing situation right. After just a few years under our previous superintendent's leadership, I began to question a lot of what was happening that was driving both veteran and new teachers to leave the district in large numbers and also pushing parents to want to get their children out of our district. As someone whose life was changed for the better because of this district and the teachers who worked here, I could not believe the way things had changed for the worse in a matter of maybe 5 years under Superintendent Cuellar. Years before, a lot of vocal people in our community decided enough was enough with our district leadership, I was often questioning and sharing information with the board, the superintendent, and my principal because I wanted answers, accountability, and safe learning/working conditions. In 2018, my then principal, Cassandra Cuellar, who is currently our district's coordinator of multilingual learner programs, verbally reprimanded me for reporting to the county anonymously that there was a classroom that continually leaked water, plus it had black goo coming from the ceiling that dropped onto students, their desks, their classwork, and the carpet. The teacher in that classroom told me how students would get a tissue to wipe the black goo off of their faces after it dripped onto them. As was the common way to shut teachers up back then, during my verbal reprimand, Cassandra Cuellar told me that I did not follow the district's proper protocol for maintenance problems, which in 2018 meant submitting a handwritten work order form that more often than not disappeared into oblivion without ever being addressed. Being the kind of person who does not delete any emails immediately after the reprimand, I found an email from February 2014 that I had sent to my then principal, Cassandra Cuellar, my then vice principal, Lorene Harvey, and Elkhorn's admin assistant saying an A-Wing portable was leaking. This email was sent before we ever had special Elkhorn work order paper forms. I then found another email that I had sent in January 2016 where I informed Cassandra Cuellar about a leaking A-Wing classroom roof, which had literal worms falling from the ceiling the previous school year after it rained. And she responded by saying she would have our custodian, Sabino, check in with the teacher in that classroom and also notify MOTS and do a work order. And then in May 2017, another teacher put in a work order for an A-Wing classroom, along with photos of the black goo from the leaking roof. And I had her share that email with me since this was an ongoing issue that district leadership did not seem to care about, even though I did. This verbal reprimand was the first time my principal, Cassandra Cuellar, talked to me in such a way that made me feel very uncomfortable and like she wanted to silence me when all I was trying to do was help our students have safe learning environments. Cassandra Cuellar literally went around asking teachers for information on who reported the leaking classrooms to the county until a teacher told her my name, which felt extremely wrong considering my report was anonymous and she knew about the problem for years. Although I no longer felt comfortable with and supported by my admin after that, I was still not going to be silent about the wrongs in our district. In August of 2020, after the 2020-21 school year had already started, there was a lot of confusion and no clear answers when it came to synchronous distance learning. At the end of the first week of school, teachers and parents still had no idea when synchronous distance learning would happen, and the district was handing out the exact same work packets for students across many different grade levels. Not many students had devices or internet access. After a lengthy phone call from one of my students' parents a few days into the school year, in which she told me for 15 minutes about all of the reasons why she would be filing a formal complaint against the district for the lack of communication and action around distance learning, I realized parents had many of the exact same questions and concerns teachers had. I told that parent I would write up her questions and concerns along with my and other teachers' questions and concerns, and I would send them to the board and superintendent because information from our site admin was very limited and always contained uncertainty when we asked questions. With the input from many teachers and parents across our entire community, I spent that Friday night and all of Saturday drafting a handful of questions both teachers and parents really needed answers to. Here is the email I sent the board and superintendent on August 16th. Dear NMCUSD board and Superintendent Yater, teachers and parents have a lot of unanswered questions regarding the 2020-2021 school year. We look forward to a prompt response from district leadership on the following topics. What is the official start day of synchronous distance learning? Parents were only told the start of school is August 12th in letter form. Teachers have also been told different dates. Will all students in the district be starting synchronous distance learning the same day? Under new state law, districts are required to provide devices and connectivity so that every child can participate in distance learning. When will each grade level be getting full access to technology? This week, there was random talk during teacher meetings that tech will not be arriving anytime soon for first and second grades. We were told until October because they are on back order in China. I'll make this a little shorter. Is a teacher supposed to start synchronous distance learning if all of the teachers' students have not been given technology from the district? Can teachers start synchronous distance learning without written assurance from the district that all students have turned in their distance learning forms? Parents have voiced concern that they are not teachers. What kind of support will there be for parents? How are kids with IEPs being supported through distance learning? There's a lot of concern about meeting requirements in IEPs. After emailing my questions and concerns to the board and superintendent, I shared the questions and concerns with members of my community on Facebook through the Prunedale Community and Neighborhood Watch page, as I live in Prunedale and work in Castroville. And I wanted all my community members to know what unanswered parent and teacher questions and concerns there were with distance learning so that everyone could get the answers once the district answered the questions and concerns. That post is still up on Facebook if you want to see it. At that point, the NMC Voices for Change Facebook page had not been created, or I would have shared it there too. The hope was the superintendent and our board would respond to the entire community, and the entire community could finally know how distance learning would proceed in our district. Before posting on Facebook the exact email I sent to the board and superintendent, using my personal cell phone where I had written up the initial email in my phone's notes, I added this message. I am a second grade teacher at Elkhorn School. I also have many nieces and nephews in the district at different schools. There is so much confusion and no straight answers to a lot of questions both parents and teachers have. I just sent this email to our superintendent, Kari Yater, and all 5 of our board members. At 2:12 p.m. on Sunday, August 16th, Superintendent Kari Yater responded to my email. I read her email and the confidentiality notice at the bottom 3 times before deciding I could post her answer to the Facebook pages, since her email did not contain confidential information and I was the addressee who received the email. She told me, again, I didn't follow proper protocol and that the principal can help me. The confidentiality notice at the bottom said these exact words. Confidentiality notice. This electronic mail transmission may contain privileged and/or confidential information only for the use by the intended recipients. Unless you are the addressee or authorized to receive messages for the addressee, you may not use, copy, disclose, or distribute this message. You may be subject to civil action and/or criminal penalties for violation of this restriction, and something about if there was an error. The confidentiality notice said that the electronic mail transmission may contain privileged and/or confidential information. What was shared in the email from Kari was not privileged nor confidential in nature, as it was about district protocol and about myself. Furthermore, the confidentiality notice said you may not use, copy, disclose, or distribute this message unless you are the addressee. And I was the addressee on the email. On top of being the addressee of the email, I knew that under the California Public Records Act, Government Code 6250-6268, that anyone can request records, such as emails, from a superintendent or other employees of a school district, so anyone could therefore get copies of email communication between the superintendent and me. Under the California Public Records Act, emails regarding public business are generally not confidential and are subject to public disclosure. I responded to Kari's email with the following. This is not something that a principal at one site can answer when there are multiple sites across the district with the same concerns. Teachers and parents need district leadership to answer these questions for the entire district. As superintendent, you should be happy to clear up all the confusion across our community. Please answer the questions and share those answers with the entire community. Thank you. For the next 2 days, I heard nothing more about the questions, concerns, never getting a response to those questions or concerns. Then on Tuesday, August 18th at around 10 a.m., my then principal, Cassandra Cuellar, came into my classroom and told me she was formally writing me up for not following proper protocol in regards to emailing the board and superintendent. I was extremely confused and completely sick to my stomach at being told I was being written up, as I had emailed the board and superintendent many times in the past and was never told that it is not okay per our board policies. Not too long after, Sandra emailed me a 4-page write-up about my unprofessional conduct, which had from Sandra Cuevas and her signed initials on the 4-page write-up, although recently she admitted she did not write it. She just signed it. Someone sent it to her. I imagine I know who it was. The write-up said the following horrible things about me because I raised questions and concerns to the board and superintendent, and I shared all information I was given with my community. These are the words. Your personal choice of action was unprofessional and unethical. It is unethical to use district technology, NMCUSD email in the improper manner that you did.
Cassandra,
Yes.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I've been notified you're at time, and I've also been asked to inquire if this is really the Teacher Federation report and how it relates to that.
Because many people are fearful of retaliation. And I
Okay.
mean, people have talked about it. CSEA kind of talked about it too.
Okay.
And
So are you nearing the end of your report?
I can condense it and then share what I wrote.
Okay. I think I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. So whatever point you're going to make, I'm going to need you to make it. Please, respectfully.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I was told my conduct was a violation of board policy. And non-compliance of job description. And that I need to enhance the integrity of the district and contribute to a positive work environment. So tonight I'm here to ask you all if I am really a bad teacher. I'm also here to ask if I'm really unprofessional, unethical, and inappropriate. I was scared into silence for many years. This is my first time speaking up about it. It caused panic attacks, my first panic attack ever, which anyone with anxiety knows once you have one, kind of sets off a chain reaction. And I'm here to ask that the file be removed from my file. As long as that write-up is in my file, it continues the legacy of this district to keep people from speaking up about injustices and keeps people from speaking up against things that are not in the best interest of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for wrapping it up. I mean, I would definitely say it's probably progress that you were able to deliver your message. We certainly don't appreciate or endorse retaliation, and we want a district where everybody can speak their mind and have their concerns addressed. So I think we're all committed to that. So thank you for your report. Okay, we're going to be moving on. And then it sounded like you had a specific HR question, and I think you should direct that to Curtis and whatever that process is for addressing what's in your file. Correct, Curtis? Yep. Okay, thank you.
Discussion.
Yes.
So
do you want to?
Point of privilege.
Of course.
So